Okay, good evening and welcome to Board of Health meeting for Monday, May 15th. We have no hearings scheduled or appointments. The first order of business is to reorganize the board. And before we actually reorganize the board, I would like to thank Lisa Lascore for her service to the Board of Health over the last number of years. Lisa's guidance and her expertise in the healthcare industry has been invaluable. So Lisa, thank you very much, and we wish you the very best. So tonight, we are going to be reorganizing the board. We're welcoming our newest member, Andrew Hudson, who won the election on this past Saturday. So in order to reorganize the board, I would make a motion to nominate an individual for chairperson.
I will second that motion.
Okay, do you have an individual in mind?
For chairperson, I would like to nominate Rob Lyons.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that's motion Duquette. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, second Andrew. Any discussion?
None for me.
Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so that passes. And then for the remaining seats, I would make a motion that Tom Duquette be vice chair and Andrew Hudson be clerk. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, second Duquette. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that passes unanimously, and that completes our board for 2023-24. So we can get right into invoices. We have an invoice from WB Mason for $63.59 for Printer Inc., and then from Crystal Rock, an invoice for $581. Do I have a motion to pay?
Motion to pay?
Okay, so we have motion Hudson. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Second Duquette. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes. And then minutes. We have our minutes from our May 1st meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes?
I have.
Okay. Andrew, do you need a moment to go through? Oh, you can't vote.
I can't
You
vote.
weren't part of them. All right, so. Motion to accept the minutes.
I will second.
Okay, second, motion Lyons, second Duquette. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. You on board with them?
Excuse me, Rob. We also have the executive session minutes that you just have to, they're also in the packet. You just have to make a motion on that as well.
Oh, gotcha, okay, apologize. Okay, so we'll take that up as a second separate issue. So we have, again, just to reiterate for the minutes from our meeting on May 1st, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, there we go. And then we have our minutes from our executive session. I'll make a motion that we accept these minutes as presented. There's motion Lyons. Do I have a second?
I will second the motion to
Okay,
accept.
second Duquette. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it passes. All right, thank you, Sandra. Okay. Yeah. Okay, disposal system construction permits. We have 818 Crescent Street. This is a local upgrade approval.
Did we have this one on last week?
No, we're marching up and down some streets, like Bridge Street's one that looks the same.
Okay, so we're going from 4 feet to 3 feet separation. Various equipment, yep, okay. Let's see, we'll look at 622. We'll vote on these all at once. Local upgrade approval, reduce 5-foot separation from this. Okay, so we're going 4 foot, 5 foot to 4 foot. Okay, so there's just 2 local upgrades.
Yep.
Any comments, concerns?
No, they both have deed restrictions to what they are now.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the 2 upgrade approvals as presented.
Motion to accept?
Okay, so that's motion Hudson. Second?
We'll second the motion.
Okay, second Duquette. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Okay, we have mobile food truck and catering application, Denny's Ice Cream, and more. And then Pete's Push Carts.
I don't,
Yeah.
do we have a menu from him?
No, they are. So, Denny's, you inspected last week. He
Yeah,
came here.
Danny's
Yeah,
was inspected.
Danny's, yep.
Yep.
And then the Pete's Push Cart, so there is, for the 200th year celebration, they're doing something out on the common, so we're getting now caterers from other surrounding towns wanting to come in. They've been asked to come on the common and serve food.
Okay?
So they are filling out the application under mobile food. We're receiving in from them their menus and also to their permits from the town that they reside in, along with all the regular documentation. So Pete's has submitted that as well.
Okay, so do they need to be inspected?
I haven't inspected them.
What's that?
I haven't inspected them.
But do they need to be?
They should be.
Okay, that's,
They should be.
all right. Are we going to, for the celebration, are we going to have a meeting subsequent to, what's the date of the celebration that they're,
June 10th and the 14th
Our
are
next,
the 2 biggies.
yeah, so our next meeting, so the June 5th, we're not having a meeting because that's the rabies clinic meeting, and that's also too, there's a special town meeting on June 5th. So our next meeting would be June 19th.
okay, now, June 19th is Juneteenth. Is that
That's a day off.
in
Yep.
Massachusetts?
Oh, that is.
So
I
we've
forgot
got
about
to,
that totally.
So tentatively, I did schedule a June 12th. I reserved the room, the conference room, just in case. So we can meet then, if you can.
okay, and when's the celebration for Pete's?
They have, the road race and that at the commercial club is June 10th-ish, I think. And then the celebration on the common is June 14th with the fireworks and things like that.
Okay, all right, so we need to do something before June 10th. Now, will you be able to inspect them before June 10th?
No. I'm
Oh, wait a minute, you're out.
I'm out
Okay,
as of
can we get
Tuesday.
somebody, let me rephrase that, can we get somebody to inspect them before June 10th? So what I'm looking,
not gonna
what
set
I'm
up
looking
till
to
the
do
10th,
is
I think.
propose a motion that we tentatively approve, tentatively approved based on a, positive inspection report.
Like we do when we don't have a permit for ice cream,
Correct.
for instance, yeah. Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, so we can get somebody, we can get our backup to get this approved. We can't move forward, we can't until it's been inspected.
Well, I thought when Jean Marie and I had a conversation in regards to this, she stated that as long as they have been inspected within their own town, that it was okay for them to come into our town as long as we got the inspection and we got the permit from that town. And that's what these vendors are doing. We only have 2 right now, that's it. We have JoJo's that last week you approved, the last meeting, May 1st, and this one here, Pete's. And so it was my understanding with them, and that's how it's been communicated via Jean Marie, that as long as we had their permit and their inspection from the town they're coming from, that they were fine for this celebration.
So is there a different process for caterers versus a food truck?
Yes. The
Okay.
food truck, you're preparing the food on the truck.
Okay, all right.
The caterer, it's be prepared, their kitchen is somewhere else.
Is somewhere else,
So
gotcha.
we need the permit from that Board of Health for that kitchen.
Which we received.
And then you need to inspect them here, to make sure their setup here is okay. Because if
Okay.
they just came with hot food and didn't have a way of heating it for 5 hours, that would be a concern.
So do we have their permit and their,
We have their permit from the town that they
From the residential.
originated from.
which is what town?
I believe Pete's is
Okay.
Waltham and JoJo's is Taunton.
So will we have an inspector at the actual celebration to inspect?
You
That's
can.
Jean Marie.
You can. We have a consultant through the consortium that does some of our foods now. And they can certainly be at the celebration, whether it's the 10th or the 14th.
So Jean Marie would
I'm not-
set that up prior to her
Yeah,
leaving.
I'm not gonna be really mobile, like as in using a walker. My knee's being replaced. Just to let you know. Andrew's like, what is happening?
So you're still going, but you're gonna be out.
I can't even walk.
Right, okay, that's,
Yeah.
right, so that's,
So
that's,
Linda Scolio is the one who's been doing for the consortium. And she's done
Okay.
some of our foods in town.
all right, so,
So we can make arrangements with her.
okay, I'm just trying to think in my head here how to word this. All right, so,
Um,
what's Linda's last name?
Sciolo, Sclorio.
And
She
where's-
works for the Halifax Consortium, the Public Health Excellent Grant people. And we'll talk about that.
All right, so
Under
she's at
HR.
Halifax Board of Health, and then, so Pete's first day offering concessions or catering here in town for the 200th anniversary is gonna be on the 10th, that's the first?
That's, I assume, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that we approve. Let's do this as two separate. So first, I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal for Danny's Ice Cream and More. So that's motion Lyons. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, second Hudson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so with regards to Pete's Push Carts, I'm gonna make a motion that we tentatively approve Pete's Catering. So it's tentatively approved with the caveat of a successful inspection by our
Consultant.
backup Board of Health agent or inspector.
Inspector would be appropriate.
So we're assuming, okay, so again, I'm making a motion that we tentatively approve Pete's Push Carts for catering in East Bridgewater upon a successful completion of a inspection prior to June 10th. So that's motion Lyons. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second Hudson. Any further discussion?
May I ask a
Yep,
question?
right, it is.
So Jean Marie's gonna contact Linda and also,
No.
Pete's Push Cart?
Everything goes through Bob Bucher.
oh, okay,
He's
but
the
how are
coordinator.
we informing Pete's Push Cart? Because we already informed them that they were,
That there will be an inspector there.
okay. And you're gonna set this up?
I'm gonna talk to Bob, and Bob will talk to whoever he's gonna send out as the inspector. Okay.
Okay, because the motion is prior to June 10th. Now, so,
No.
okay,
It will be June 10th.
okay, so I'm gonna amend the motion to reflect prior to or on June 10th. Okay, any further discussion? Or any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Say aye. Okay, so that passes. Okay, we have one betterment loan. That's for 782 Washington Street.
So the betterment loan for 782 Washington Street, they have submitted their application. We went through the process, their deed, everything is in place, all the criteria. So we're looking just for the board just to approve them to be accepted into the program, and then we'll be back in front of the board once they complete their septic. And then they'll be filling out the betterment agreement like we have in the past. And then it will be signed by the board and signed by the homeowners. And at that time, that's when you'll know the total amount.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the application for 782 Washington Street for a betterment loan.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, so that's, motion Duquette. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second Hudson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so that passes. Okay, housing.
This is a couple of different things.
Well, should we just go through them one at a time?
Yeah, actually, we should.
So we'll start with 441 Summer Street.
Okay, 441 Summer Street, I got a call to go out, and the call came in,
Is there anything in here?
no,
Okay,
a week ago Friday. And that is, we've had a number of calls out there. My predecessor went out a couple of times, I've been out a couple of times, and now it's starting up again. So she's got a lawyer involved, and so doesn't the landlord, and obviously they're fighting, obviously. Here's my file anyways. So usually what happens with housing, and I'm getting a little bit confused with it because of an email that I got from the previous chair. Housing has some very, very tight timeframes, and the code does not allow you to deviate from it. And that's what's concerning me a little bit.
so what's the underlining issue? What's going on at 441 Summer Street? If you were to sum it up,
Okay. The tenant called and said that the toilet didn't work.
okay?
I said to her, did you talk to the landlord? She goes, no. I said, you need to call the landlord first. That's procedure.
Yep,
Landlord told her she wasn't gonna go out for 24 hours. I said, did you let him in? Because 24 hours, the usual notification from landlord to tenant and vice versa on coming into a unit. She said, no, I don't want him in. I said, either you let him in to fix the toilet, she's got 4 kids under 10, or you fix it yourself. So she told me it wasn't working. So I went out to do the inspection, and it's slow draining. And I said to her, you need to learn how to fix toilets or to plunge toilets because you've got 4 children, and it's conceivable that something went down the toilet. The landlord wants a certain amount of money to fix it. It's not an ancient toilet, it's not a new toilet by any means, but there are 6 people on 1 bathroom. So it's slow draining. So that's what they were fighting about, and that's why the lawyer got involved, because they thought it was an emergency, because she told him the toilet wasn't working at all, and when I went out, it was slow draining.
okay.
So I have to send them an order letter, but I got an email from the chair
Mhm.
that said that it has to be discussed at a board meeting.
Okay, so did you present an order letter for us to approve?
No. So my concern is this. The housing code said the inspector will do the inspection within 24 to 48 hours after receiving the request. The order letter, depending on the severity of what's there, has to go out within 24 to 5 days after doing the inspection. We're still in that time frame, but it's not something you usually hear about it afterwards because of the tight time frames. You meet every 2 or 3 weeks. So that's one of my concerns.
Okay, so I guess my question is, you just said we're 24 hours to 5 days, and we're in within the 5 days.
We're still good on this one.
So why, okay, so if that's the case, then why don't we have a letter?
Usually, the inspector sends the letter out, and then if they don't like the order, they appeal it to the board. Okay?
Okay, but I thought we had a process in place. So,
That's the process that's set out
okay,
by
so
the
right
state,
now,
by the
right now,
housing.
there's, okay, so the toilet's working, it's just slow draining.
And there's some other issues out there. Every time I go out, there are issues. Carbon monoxide monitors are pulled off the wall. That was done by the tenant. The batteries are beeping. She needs to change the batteries. That's a tenant responsibility. The fascia board on the bathroom cabinet,
Okay, what was the, so I've got carbon monoxide. That
yeah,
was-
they're beeping.
Okay, these were removed, they were removed from,
The tenant said she
Tenant.
removed them because they were beeping.
okay, so they were beeping. So, did the tenant notify the landlord?
No, because it's the tenant's responsibility to change the batteries.
Okay,
That's in the
so she
code.
took them, or the tenant took them down?
Yep.
Didn't change the battery, just took them down?
Yep. Well, they're
Okay,
hanging by
but
wires.
but we know that they were beeping because of battery issue or because it's a carbon monoxide issue?
Battery issue.
How do you tell the difference if it's beeping?
Because
How would the
it's a
cons-
di-
how would
it's
the-
a
how would the-
different beep.
What's that?
It's a different beep, at least those are. One beeps real fast. Actually, one goes on constantly, like an alarm. The other one beeps because the battery's getting low. They're
All
beeping.
right, so it's a battery, it's a maintenance issue, and the homeowner, or
Occupant
the occupant did not want to change the battery.
hasn't changed.
All right, so what, then you said something about fascia board?
The bathroom, the fascia board cabinet, you can look at, the pictures are in there, is pulled off. Since that wasn't a violation before, I'll probably cite the landlord for that one.
I thought you said we didn't have any information on 441.
On what?
We're doing 441 Summer Street, right?
Right, it's, I
Okay.
just handed him the blue folder for it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did 5 months of inspections out there between August and December last year. This is just this time.
Okay, so the fascia board's pulled off.
They have a slider out on the deck. This is a second floor apartment with children in it, and the lock doesn't work. Concern is the under 8 set will,
Okay, now the lock not working, is that a 24-hour to the landlord?
she puts a board down on the slider. But, yeah, that has to be fixed. And there's a piece of tile missing from the bathroom floor. That's a landlord thing, too. First time in, I cite the landlord. If it breaks by the next inspection, I then cite the tenant or the occupant.
So it's on the agenda, and is this just for informational purposes only, or are you looking, I'm just trying to get.
Usually I send out the order letter. And then it just goes, it's, whatever, merry way.
Okay, but you don't have an order letter for us to even review.
You usually don't review them. They usually taken care of before we even have a board meeting. Just to remind you, I haven't had use of my desk I just got a desk today.
Okay, so what's 441, what's the plan for 441?
It's just FYI.
Okay,
It's, all three of these housing are very, very different, so it's more of a informational thing for you.
okay. So 165 Bridge Street.
This is a case where we have some occupants that are living in a camper out back on the property. And one of them is living in the house at times. So this is kind of like, we have people that don't have a lease, don't have anything in writing, are occupying someone else's house. So my question to town council was, when do you consider someone, in order to go into a property, we have to have someone has to legally let us in. We can't just walk on a property. You have to be legally let in. But you have to make sure the person you're asking has the legal right to give you permission. So my question so you either see a lease that has their name on it or a license that has their name on it. In this case, none of that was available, okay? They didn't have any paperwork that said they lived there. And town council told me you use what they call the key test. If a person has a key to get in the house, they're considered an occupant. They had the keys. Also, the landlord showed up. She's in her 80s, and her granddaughter showed up. The granddaughter is what we would consider interested party, but doesn't have any legal access to the house. They're not listed as the owner. They don't have any license that says they live there. So basically this one, the camper's a concern. Anything over 30 days needs Board of Health approval, basically to make sure that they have potable water and septic. They're not just running a hose out on the backyard. He says that he has it pumped out. He doesn't have any proof of that. I have no slips, no septic hauler saying I go there on a periodic basis and pump up the camper. So he's gonna be back in before us. It might take a month or two, because he has to go through building and zoning first. And he's proposing to put a porta potty out there to use.
Okay, but aren't porta potties just temporary as well?
I would discourage approving something like that, yes.
Okay, but
They are,
okay,
and certainly not for housing. You know, they are for construction sites, they are for events, but not for housing.
Why does he want to do a porta potty if the camper is functional and being pumped?
I think there's a question of whether that's really happening. He might just have a hose, sort of,
Pump into the septic,
not even go into the septic, just
just
out
in the yard?
out, yeah. Yeah. I didn't see evidence of that, but he's right up against the goats. So it would be hard to tell what was animal and, you know. But he's nowhere near the septic. I'm talking 300-400 feet away from it. I cite him for living in it, and the owner, unfortunately, for having it on the property. But they have to go through the zoning thing first, and at that point, you can add your comments in about having proper sewage disposal, and the septic's an old one.
It's probably not even built to handle the extra wastewater.
No, Andrew, that's where we're going, yeah. I would consider it, if it's a 2-bedroom camper, you gotta add 2 bedrooms onto it, okay? That kind of stuff. He's using a hose that's hooked up to the outside hose for water. All right,
all right, so,
so it's questionable.
Yeah.
Could be
As-
lead soldered connections?
No, it's just a hose.
Well, coming out of the house, though, the connection, if it's not potable water, could you be lead soldered connections, which would be no good for drinking?
Right, I don't know. The house is turn of the century, so we could definitely question that.
May I ask a question? So I thought this individual here in the camper, they were the squatters. So they technically have no lease to
I
the
was trying
property.
not to use that word, but this happens a lot.
So technically, they have no ownership of the property, nor need to be there, so
They're still an occupant.
But, yeah.
they still an
So,
occupant.
Because that's what I
So
said
that
to
the
town
squatter unit is
council.
a legal term, a legal definition that would identify that person of having or not having a right to be there. But the occupant, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, the occupant is somebody who is there, residing or being on the property. I know it's, and both could be true. That they both could absolutely be true,
But one has no legal definition in housing.
so.
So that's why I said the test we used was, do you have keys to the house? They both do. And the person trying to evict them doesn't have a legal right to the property, the granddaughter. So, yes, anyways,
So
so
is,
all
has
I'm
this
dealing with,
been, is it going to be, or has building and zoning already started to take a look at this?
I don't know. He hasn't as far as I know, he hasn't put an application in to have the camper. And they will take a look at that whole kit and caboodle. All we have to deal with is the septic and the potable water. I'm sending him a letter that says, please be advised that anything beyond 30 days needs Board of Health approval. However, you're gonna have to start with the building and planning. So I'm gonna send him that. I did do a housing inspection because one of the parties that requested the housing inspection lives in the house. She has the keys. And the bathroom needs a little bit of work. It's got a water-stained ceiling, and it has tiles missing, and beyond the clutter, it's okay. The house is okay. It's got a lot of clutter. And that I would cite both the occupant and, i.e. both occupants, to take care of.
So,
But we have a 3-foot space, we can walk back and forth to windows and doors, and it's tight, but you can do it.
is the occupant of the camper affiliated with somebody in the house? or-
Significant others.
Okay.
I know,
What
you
was-
tried
didn't-
going through that little number, yeah, I know.
I'm blind in my left ear. What did you?
Significant others, is
Oh,
what I would
significant
call them.
other. Gotcha, okay,
And when they're fighting, she stays in the house, and when they're not fighting,
okay.
she's in the
Okay.
camper.
So there's a domestic issue
Tons.
thrown into it as well.
Yep, there's that whole thing. So that's another different one. So I'll just send him a letter, and basically I'm just gonna concentrate on the camper and the bathroom. The others are pretty much non-issues as far as I'm concerned, as far as Board of Health is concerned, okay?
Okay, so 181 Pond Street.
That was an emergency call I got.
Right, that was the emergency, yep.
Received permission to go into the property by the brother who had the keys.
Mm-hmm.
The occupant was taken out by ambulance. He is not going back to the house, so as that developed through the weekend, that became less of a concern. So the only thing about that house is it becomes a health hazard, period. We don't have to do the rest of the condemn order to secure any of that, okay? And that was written on the inspection that I left with the brother,
Okay.
so he's been notified already. So we don't have to do anything with that. And the other thing is, I know housing's really up. They've been promising to change housing code for the last month and a half. First it was middle of April, then it was April 28th, then it was May 5th. It finally changed May 12th. And I was just happy I wasn't in the middle of a housing inspection when it happened. And the new inspection sheets and everything else all reflect the new housing. So anything going forward will be new housing code. Anything we're in is old housing code. So you have a request for a variance from the East Bridgewater Housing Authority due to the new housing code. And we didn't present this until code changed. One of the requirements is that the new refrigerators be 11 cubic feet. The housing authority has units that are for one person. Their existing refrigerators are 9 cubic feet. So they're asking for a variance from that until such time as they have to replace those refrigerators. That's in there, right? I think I saw it in your packet, guys.
No, it isn't here, and I'm just trying to see, okay, please note some of our apartments have minimal room in their kitchens and cannot be accommodated 11 cubic foot refrigerator, currently we're using 9 foot. Okay, I ask please grant a variance to the apartments that will not accommodate an 11 cubic foot refrigeration. Okay, below is a list of those apartments. Okay, so I have that.
That's the request.
Okay, but you added something that until they need to be
Well,
replaced.
I wouldn't replace them with a 9 foot. 9
Okay,
cubic foot.
you won't, but what are we putting in the variance? I
That-
mean, are they on board with when a refrigerator dies, that they go to the new housing?
I don't know, if it's, you know, it's a housing authority thing, they gotta meet code.
Okay, then
So I'd
we
assume,
should have that a little bit more clear into their request. Can we go back to them and get another letter, or just, yep, or, you know, it just needs one more sentence in this request, that our plan would be, is to make sure that we're code, if we have to replace a refrigerator, we replace it with 11 foot versus a 9 foot. And I see everything in here that they're requesting, and then your comment near the end was, well, until they have to replace it.
well, because they can't buy a 9 foot anymore to replace they're going up to 11s. They remodel or replace, if a unit breaks,
All right.
I would say have them
We're gonna
clean.
table this until our next, I'll call Leslie.
Alright. And I don't anticipate any other place having variance requests. Because if it's new construction, they should meet the code.
So do we have a sample of the new code?
I do.
What-
And it's
What's,
probably not in yours, but it's in Andrew's.
okay,
Sorry.
that's all right, no
It
worries.
just changed
All
on
right.
Friday, I mean.
Right,
Do you
right,
want a
okay.
copy,
What's
guys?
the, that's right, I can look it up.
Leslie, oh, what do you want, the site or the variance?
If it's handy, if not, I can look it up. Okay,
Probably hidden in something weird.
that's all right, not a problem.
So anyway, the new inspections, I'll say it.
Sounds like somebody hit a double.
I know it. 410-100 kitchen facilities,
What is it?
410-100 A6. A refrigerator with a freezer container.
You don't have to read it, I'll look at it later. I don't wanna take up everyone's time on it. Let's see. All right, so town nurse,
Lisa sent an email.
yep, I got that.
Yep, so she just wanted the board to review, the town nurse is requesting for the board to cover her CPR cost of $38.
Okay, how much was the class?
I think this is all that was submitted from Heather right now, which you have it. It says this, it says the nurse CPR code. You have that document.
Okay, that's the schedule. Okay, so in her request is the dollar amount for the class there.
In least, the former chair stated that the town nurse is looking for compensation to take a course to instruct CPR. She has a class scheduled in June at the senior center, although the class was approved. The cost of her certification as a was assumed by her, but she would like to have the board pay for it.
Okay, but we don't have a dollar amount.
Well, and then Heather did submit to me the sheet that I gave you, and that's the dollar amount.
Okay, I can't, then I must be,
Should be in there. Do you have it, Rob?
up, there it is. Yep, okay. The class is $38?
$38.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we pay the $38 for our nurse Heather to be retrained in CPR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's motion Lyons,
I will second.
second Duquette. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, so that passes. Okay. All right, Jean Marie, you're up.
I'm
Health
up.
agent update. Anything that we have not covered?
Anything we haven't covered? Okay. Well, there's site assessment, new construction, we're still working on Industrial Way. We're about a third of the way through that project. Repairs 58 Metzer, 459 Plymouth, 592 North Central, and 122 Cedar Street. Food inspections, I did.
Okay, before we move on, getting back to Industrial Way, I know we had some conversation about Industrial Way last week or 2 weeks ago. So this is where we've had a re-perk based off of soil removal on the site. And then there were lines being redrawn on plots or lots.
Mhm.
So you've received all of the new lot lines?
Nope, we're not through with the perks. And the engineer's responsibility to locate all the test holes, longitude, latitude, and square footage, et cetera. And he has 60 days after we finish the project to submit those to the Board of Health for a subdivision, 30 days for a repair perk. Okay, so we're not there on that yet. I'm going out, right, is it tomorrow, either Tuesday or Wednesday, I forget which day I'm going out this week, to do probably about 20 to 25 more holes. But all my stuff's written up. He has to submit the test hole locations. That project is probably 3 to 6 months away from going through planning board, and probably a year away from coming back to you guys for individual lot approval for septic design. Both the industrial side of it and the residential side. Andrew, are you familiar with that project?
I am not.
Do you know down at Central Street, as you go into Hanson, there's a bunch of new houses?
Behind Tri-Town.
Central Street going into Hanson.
There's a bunch of.
Oh, yeah, with the town sold off the land?
Yep.
That's the property. That's-
Okay.
The other part of it is what used to be called Ritter's Treatment Plant. It's off the industrial way.
Okay.
Behind Honeydew and.
Yep.
And it was a sand and gravel pit.
Is that what, I don't know, okay.
That's what's out there. So that's what we're working on. We're looking at probably 20, 25 housing units right behind the ones on Central Street. And maybe 10 to 12 industrial lots coming in off of Honeydew, off of that Oak Street side.
Okay.
So that's what that whole thing's about. We've got some contamination issues out there that DEP's monitoring, PFABs and lead, so we're concerned about that. It's a huge project.
In the ground?
Yes, yep. So you wanna watch out for potable water supply, irrigation water supplies, and the lead will probably be taken out. Lead binds to soil, so it's kinda easier just to remove it. So you should be getting test hole locations probably by, I'm gonna guess like the middle of July to the end of July. On a really big scale, maybe not lot per lot, but at least the property scale. And then the rest of it will probably be coming in next summer for us.
Okay, so moving down your list here.
I skipped over systems under construction, cause they're kind of the ones we do. New construction, we don't have any rolling on except 211 Highland Street, which has been ongoing. Food inspections, I did the 6-month follow-ups at Central School, Mitchell Middle School, and Junior Senior High School, cause they would be going out for the summer soon, and I wanted to get them before they did that. Obviously, Danny's ice cream truck I did. Housing, we just went through, code change, letting you know that. Variances from East Bridgewater. Complaints, we received a call from the.
Okay, can we just skip back up here to 17 West Union Street?
Yep,
Okay, so that's one that we didn't address when we were talking about housing on the agenda.
that's almost done. The only thing he hasn't got done, and she did move back in, that was the one where the pipes froze in February. Was, he does not have he has a multifamily there, it's got 4 units, he doesn't have a lock on the front door. Somebody can just walk straight in. It's the only thing he's got, and he's waiting for the ordered pieces to come in. So we're almost done with that one.
Okay,
But the tenant's back in the unit.
The tenants are back in?
Yeah, they went back in 2 weekends ago, I think.
Okay, tenants is back in. I just wanted to write that down.
Yeah, she went in.
okay, so number 7, complaints. Did we address 97 Broad Meadow?
I went out and left my card, and I haven't heard from him. That was about 4 days ago. Originally that came in as anonymous, and we were told, don't do anonymous complaints. It now has a name attached to it.
Okay, so you went out to the address.
Mhm. I don't see anything, but when I came back, I got notice that it was pumped 2 days before. So it might have, the homeowner's 2 days ahead of me on that one.
Okay,
But that's
so
all.
they pumped their tank. Is that what or are they pumping out into a field?
Both. I think he had it pumped by
Okay, so they had,
one of our septic haulers probably about a week ago.
so there's potential that they had overflow.
I think it's an ongoing
Okay,
issue.
and then they had somebody come and pump their tank. So that probably resolved the overflow.
For the minute.
So what's your next steps there?
It has multiple people living in the house, unrelated degrees. So it may be functioning as a boarding home.
Okay, but what are your next steps?
Oh. Try and get a hold of him, and I think it's failed. It's an original system from the 60s. I think it's failed. So he'll probably have to get an order letter to repair it.
Okay, so how do we know it's failed? Via an inspection, correct?
It's been overflowing, and it's been pumped a couple of times. Yeah, so I'm not even,
Okay, so you,
it's
so,
hit failure
see,
criteria.
I'm just getting information on the fly here.
That's okay.
So, it's been, so I'm hearing 2 things. One thing is that now it's been pumped multiple times. Do we know how often?
I got twice in the last 6 months, so that tells me if it's been going on for a
Okay.
year, a week, probably.
Yep.
4 times a year would be failure, so I think we're kind of on the edge there.
Okay, so they've had it pumped twice in 6 months,
Yep.
and then right now, we're assuming it's overflow from time to time.
Yeah, because we've got
Now-
multiple complaints.
Now, you're also saying that there's a large number of people inside the house. So it might not be a failure, other than just overflow on a system that's not designed to handle that
Right,
many
the
occupants.
age of the system and the size of the system may be the issue. We don't,
Okay, so getting back to the failure, to determine if it's a failure, there has to be an inspection. We just can't assume.
no, if you've got overflowing sewage running on the ground, you don't need an inspection to tell you that.
Okay, but
Do you want me to
But
order
is
them
it
to have a
is
Title
it
V?
a failure, or is it a failure, or is it from overflow, not being pumped?
They're the same thing.
Okay,
The system can't take the amount of load it has on it. That would be a failure. Failure has about 6 to 7 different criteria. One is being pumped more than 4 times a year, and ponding or overflowing the ground is definitely another one.
So if you're out, do you have, is this on the radar of who's ever filling in for you to be able to take this up?
Mhm.
Okay, so what else you got?
We had a concern about vaping. And that basically, DPH says that comes under our, tobacco and smoking regulations. Basically, sale of vaping cartridges to a minor would come under the tobacco. And we license, the town, we license, put people in town for that. So once I get the information, the individual said he wants to talk to us, once I get the information, or I'll have him talk to you, one or the other. You can decide what to do from that.
What information?
Remember that guy that said?
No, I know this one, but you said when I get the information, what type of information are you waiting on?
His complaint. Remember how he
From
wanted
the
to talk to the
gentleman who-
board? Yeah.
Mhm. So you're referencing the person that called?
I'm
in the
referencing the
complaint.
email you gave me, yeah.
Okay.
But I also wanted you to have the information before I sort of like hit you.
Okay.
Indoor air quality report, did you guys get it?
That's in here, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've also reviewed it, but I don't know if everybody else had a comment, a concern, or questions regarding the report that Charlie sent out. Okay, moving on.
The other thing was just coverage.
Okay,
Sandra has Bob Buchner's number.
I get card, yes.
Yes, I can certainly send it out to you if you need it.
so everything's going to go through Bob
Yep.
Bucher,
Uh-huh.
and then if he needs to delegate or disseminate any other workloads, he'll do that.
Right.
And then be in contact with Sandra as who's gonna do what.
I assume so, yep.
Well,
I'm just not
just sort of how that
micromanaging that end of it.
okay, but did you talk to Bob?
I did, he said he would cover the town while I was out.
Okay,
And I gave, Sandra has his card and he's got her number.
okay, Sandra, have you talked to Bob? It might be worth reaching out, when are you done? Or
Next
when you out?
Tuesday.
What's that?
Week from tomorrow, I won't be in.
Okay, so sometime, I would say sometime this week, Sandra, maybe just reach out to Bob while Jean Marie's still here, just introduce yourself and,
I've met Bob several times.
okay, so
Yeah.
there's
No, I
that
already
communication
have it.
flow is already existing, you guys are,
Right.
okay, all right, then that's fine.
That's fine. I
And-
just
But
don't
if
know how-
there's anything that you would like to, as far as communication, follow-up, things like that, then now would be the time to kind of,
Right.
get that on the table before Jean Marie leaves. If you're happy with the way everything's set up and flowing, then you're good to go.
I don't know how, when we have our meetings, and Jean Marie's obviously not here and she's out, I don't know how that flow and dynamics are going to go, because that's not my purview. That is Jean Marie's and Bob's. So if he's not here and something's being presented, that's something between Jean Marie and the board that has to take place, not,
I won't be here.
so I don't know how that's gonna work out. But that's not for me to say. That's out
So,
of my scope.
that's why I think maybe, while Jean Marie's still here, interjecting and just saying, hey, when she's out, how would you like me to handle
Right.
any concerns or comments or
I-
get back to the
right.
board, be the liaison?
To be honest, I also thought that Jean Marie would be reaching out to Bob and have documentation as to, so when this takes place, this is what Bob's doing. Like, I don't feel that it's my place to ask Bob what his role is. I think it should be presented to me, and whatever is that I can do and then bring to the board,
All
absolutely.
right, so I'll grab Bob's number after this, and I know I've got it somewhere in here, but
Yep.
I'll give Bob.
So they have, they're all out there for the meeting right now.
Okay. All right, so
We're gonna-
critical inspections that you have coming up before your leave.
I am doing the camp the YMCA camp outside pool next week and get as much as I can get it done. Obviously, the pool's not gonna be working. I can't check the chemistries.
Okay.
So you can send out one of the inspectors to do a final, but I'll try and get the camp done, get the fields done, get the medical oversight thing all done, the quarries and the
Okay, but
stories.
would it be worth it to either A, have who's ever going to be filling in for you do that, because it won't be complete on your inspection, or at least do it as co-inspectors?
It's a 6-hour inspection at the very least, so half of it's always a 2-day thing. One's a month before the other kind of thing. So I'll get as much as I can. What they're gonna have to do before they give out the permit is go check the pool. Check the chemistries, get pH, chlorine, et cetera, et cetera. And that's pretty much all they'll have to do. The rest of it, all the records I will have done beforehand. And a pool inspection's a pretty standard thing that we do every 3 months anyways. So that should be fine. It's a checklist.
Okay,
Not that hard.
so you will be inspecting,
The camp,
okay, so, yeah, I
camp
get,
and the outside pool,
okay.
and the inside pool. I'm there, I
All right.
might as well do it.
So, out of the camp and in the outside pool, what do you anticipate you will not be able to finish?
The pool chemistries. I don't think they'll have the chlorine in it.
Okay, so we'll be sending
The
someone out to do
pH
the
and that
pool
kind of
chemistry, okay, so what else?
That's it.
That's it, so the only thing that our backup health inspector would need to do is just pool chemistry.
Because I'm assuming they're gonna send you the medical oversight license and the certification for the ropes course. Remember how we talked about that?
Okay.
So those are just certifications, so they should send those to you.
Okay, so you're telling the board that just pool chemistry is all that they'll be,
Physically, yep.
okay? And then,
If not,
what if
I'll
there,
give you
okay,
a list.
so, now, what happens if there's an issue?
You send out the inspector.
Okay, but based off of your report, is what I'm saying. So what you're inspecting, right, the camp and the pool minus the pool chemistry. So during your inspection process, if there's a hiccup, what's the process?
Okay, so I have a 10-page inspection report.
Yep.
And it will say, done, still needs to be done. So all you need to do is, the inspector needs to do is go the, still needs to be done. Whether it's get a certification for this, a certification for that, do the pool chemistries,
Okay.
okay? I'll write out
So-
what needs to be done.
So, okay, so that was my next
All right.
question. So before you go out on leave, you will have communicated with us and Bob as to other than
What else
pool
needs-
chemistry or any other issues that still needs to be inspected, and then what issues need to be resolved.
Right.
Okay, so this communication camp will be tight. Okay,
Before we end the meeting, may I know, Andrew, I just had to get on record that you stated
Correct.
that you were going to, you're going to state that you do not wish to receive the board's quarterly stipend?
That's correct.
Okay, so, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Here for the outcome, not the income.
well, if that was,
It's a learning experience.
And so the next meeting, would you be able to meet on June 12th?
I'm not sure.
so we can't go a whole month
Oh,
without,
that's
with being dark.
So I reserved a room for June 12th, if that would work.
Now, we can go, off the Monday schedule if need be, but,
And as you're looking on your schedule too, Andrew, I just have to meet with you just to get, to get your contact information. And I also too, because they're coming in, we're gonna have to go upstairs so that I can have you sign
oh, okay,
off.
yep, Gotcha.
And, let's see.
The other two.
And June 5th is the rabies clinic.
Right.
First time, Jean Marie's not there. Love for my board to be there and
Yeah,
support,
yeah.
please, and thank you.
Your security vests are upstairs. They say public health on the back.
Okay. Yeah, contact the ordinary-
Have we ever been able to, oh, never mind, that's all right. Next meeting. So what are we still tentative on the 12th? We don't know.
I know I'm on vacation. But I
Oh,
don't know
so-
if I'm
That's easy.
Yeah,
physically
so,
present.
no, you're not available.
There's no
easy.
on it.
Now, see, I interpreted it the other way. So, okay, so if we look at the week of the 5th,
We have the
looking at the
rabies clinic.
7th or the 8th,
Yeah, I have to, I can't, unless we just do it upstairs, off camera. I don't know,
no, he's mobile.
yeah, I know, so,
As long as you tell them ahead of time.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so we've gotta noodle through this and figure something out.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so.
Well, I'll communicate with you and we'll come up with something.
Okay.
And then just respond to my
Yeah, a
email.
month is just too long.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so then, yep,
Okay, so that's housing notes, agents update. Where's my agenda?
I gotta take the blue folder
know.
back up.
Okay, so, that concludes our meeting of Board of Health for Monday, May 15th. Our next meeting is to be determined. Just to remind everybody, for the millions that are watching, we have a rabies clinic on June 5th. And I will entertain a motion to close our meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay. All right, so that's motion Hudson and second Paquette. Any further discussion?
None?
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Again, that concludes our meeting for May 15th for the Board of Health. Thank you.